This time on Rad Rat Video, we're talking about if schools should teach skateboarding as part of the high school curriculum. Let's do it. Welcome back to Rad Rat Video, a channel about skateboarding in all of its forms in any way I can get it. And today I'm answering some of your questions on the series Ask Rad Rats. If you have your own, go to radratvideo.com and submit it there on the homepage. First question for today is from Dante, who says, do you think selling skate videos will ever come back? And do you think YouTube killed full-length skate videos? Because most companies nowadays only put out individual parts compared to back in the day, every video was full length. Do you miss full-length videos or do you prefer parts being posted individually? I really miss a full-length, like full team skate video that's like between 20 minutes and an hour long. I really miss those. But in reality, it's kind of tough to pull away that kind of time, you know? Like, there was a local team somewhere in like Arizona or something like that. They made a video called Aquarium, and they sent me a copy on disc. And I sat down and I watched it, and it was great. I had such a good time. Like, you know, you see all the people's parts and like the friend section and all of that. It was a very classic style skate video, and I really enjoyed that. And I miss having that kind of stuff. But like, if there was a new video from Nike or some you know, something like that, I don't know if I would buy a skate video and put a disc in and watch it. It'd have to be on a, like, I'm not going to buy a DVD. I would have to buy a Blu-ray, and like, I'm going to sit down with a skate Blu-ray and watch it. I don't know. It seems less likely. It's so much easier to pull away 3 or 4 minutes and watch a part and then get back to the stuff I'm doing. You know, like, we're so spoiled now in that kind of way where you don't have to, you can do things in smaller chunks. You know, I can play a game on my phone for 5 minutes and then I can get back to work for a while. And the next time I have a couple minute break, I can open up a game on my computer, play for 5 minutes, and then I can watch a skate video for 5 minutes. I can do all that kind of stuff now. And to actually carve out an hour to sit and watch like a old school Plan B style, like a tape from back in the day, you know, I don't see it coming back. I miss it. There's some nostalgia for that. I like the format, but yeah, I don't think the next generation of people, like, I like it because of the nostalgia of it, actually sitting down and enjoying a full-length video. Kids who are growing up without that, they're not going to miss it because they've never had it. So I really don't see it coming back. Having one part at a time is so much more convenient. Like, it's better in a lot of ways. So I definitely feel like that's where it's going to stay there. Next question is from Bobbert, who says, so I do my heel flips with my toe. Have always found them easier that way, and I'm lazy. My feet are in kickflip position, but I flick my toe out and away so the board rotates like a heel flip. So is it a heel flip or something else like a toe flip, which is what I normally call them? So in a game of skate, what's more important, the way you get the board to spin or how the board spins and rotates? Okay, so how you get the board to spin or just how the board spins and rotates. Well, don't call it a toe flip. That name is taken. A toe flip is like a pressure... It's a pressure flip technically, but it's a different kind of pressure flip. I'll show you one. I've got one on tape that I've ever done. It's really sketchy, but yeah, it's like a varial kick flip without popping. PJ Ladd does a line with some of them in a skate video too. That's what a toe flip is. So yeah, don't call it that. But my buddy Tony does his heel flips like that too. He doesn't have, like, for me, I can do them that way, but only if it's a straight single heel flip. If I want to do like an inward heel flip or a varial heel flip or a double, I can do it that way. But so here's the way it works. Most people have their toe kind of hanging off the board slightly like this. And when they flick, they kind of flick the side of their shoe like that. But what my friend does is he has his toe inside, like it's on the grip. It's not even out on the edge of the board. It's inside slightly. And he pops and he kind of flicks the kickflip spot. His foot's like flipped over or upside down almost. Flicks the kickflip spot and it flips like a heel flip. It's just a heel flip. Like, I wouldn't call it a different type of trick, no matter like how extreme. You say you do it like a kickflip, that's even more extreme than what he does. But it's still a heel flip. You still kick your heel out and the board flips in that direction. I wouldn't call it a different trick. It's an interesting technique. It looks cool because it's different, you know, like I don't think there's anything wrong with doing it that way, or it's not better or not worse. It's just different, but it's still a heel flip. You know, like I could do a kickflip by hanging my toe off just because I've done so many kickflips that I don't really have to try super hard to do them. If I wanted to hang my toe way off and do a kickflip that way, you don't have to do that in a game of skate, you know, unless you make the rule, like it's a weird foot position game or, you know, something like that. But yeah, in a normal game of skate, it's just a heel flip, in my opinion. The next question is from Adam, who says, will any skater ever match or exceed the popularity of Tony Hawk? He hit that perfect storm of 900 plus video game plus late 90s counterculture. Plus, his mainstream media personality is a perfect blend for both the skateboarding world as well as the sports and media in general. Will anyone in our lifetime ever top that, and what will it take? The gold medalist of the Olympics might do it, right? Like how many professional swimmers do you know of? But you know of Phelps, right? Everybody on earth knows who Phelps is because he came in and he destroyed, like swept everything, broke records and got lots of gold. If somebody comes in, I know it might have to be 2024 now. They were going to delay it to this year. I don't know what's going to happen with that. But if somebody comes in and just sweeps every event and gets gold in everything, they might become that popular because people like to watch skateboarding. Watching swimming, come on, like that's not that exciting. You see like 10 people going and this one's slightly further ahead compared to a guy does a kickflip back lip down some stairs. That's a lot more interesting to watch. So I think the attention of the world could be on that one person if they're that far ahead. Not just necessarily the person who wins, but if they win a ton of events and they outclass everybody and they, you know, blow the competition out of the water, then maybe I could definitely see that happening. Because there's lots of, you know, sprinters and all kinds of stuff that you only watch once every 4 years, and yet they're famous enough that you know their names. That could definitely happen with a skateboarder. Your second question, what was your first dream trick when you started skating? I'm almost 30 and I just picked the board back up. And for some reason, the trick I really want to progress to do is a blunt stall kickflip out to fakie. Well, not an easy trick, it's one I feel I can get with enough work. Did you have a certain dream trick you wanted to hit when you started getting a little more serious on your board? Yeah, for me, the biggest thing I wanted to do was anything late. It didn't matter what. I wanted to do like a normal late kickflip, but I never learned that. I still can't do it. It feels too weird. Like I feel like I'm kind of popping and crossing my feet in a weird way. It just doesn't work for me. Switch might be a little easier because it would feel more like a normal kickflip, but I can't do that either. I learned late heel flips. I learned late varial kickflips, kind of. I learned like Casper flips, which are kind of like a late trick because you catch the board upside down and do like a late shove it. Like that was the first thing I wanted to do. And I came up with a few late type of tricks that I could figure out. That was my first goal. Like I learned kick flips. Did I even learn how to 360 flip yet? I don't even know. Maybe. I had probably done a couple, but I don't know if I could, if I could 360 flip. And I was trying late stuff. It had to be late, had to be really technical and weird. And that was it. And so I managed to do a few. I think I learned late hard flips, I think, which are pretty cool. I don't think I ever filmed that one, but yeah, it had to be late stuff. I still think it's really cool to do. I don't necessarily focus on it as much. Although I did a rail flip, late hard flip right here, which is one of my favorite things I've done. I think that's a really cool trick. So yeah, I've always been really fascinated with late stuff because for me, when I started skating, it was about 2001. Nobody was doing late tricks at the time, and we had a lot of really good skate videos come out. We had like Fully Flared and Medic Mati and all kinds of stuff around that time when I was only skating for a couple of years, But when I went back and watched the old Plan B stuff from the 90s, that blew me away because I'd never seen anyone skate like that before. I'd only seen the modern, normal tricks that we do in street. But you go back far enough and things get really weird. I always thought that was cool. And people were doing late flips then. They weren't doing them in the 2000s. So it always seemed exotic and cool to me. So that was one of my first goals, was do a late trick. I didn't care which. The last question is from to Court, who says, schools are implementing skating into their curriculum, and much how some would argue Woodward pigeonholed skaters' creativity and skill set, schools might do too. Is it going to be an overall positive thing and get more people into skating, or just create a bunch of Olympic robot-style clones and or turn off people from starting skating at all? Turn off people from starting skating is an interesting idea, because I think schools do that by forcing you to read books that aren't that good, and picking them apart to an extreme degree. I love to read, but I understand people who don't, because it was never fun in school. You know, it was always a chore. It was always really old, really dry stuff. You would read a few pages and then you'd have to examine, why did the author choose to have this character wear a blue shirt? What's the significance of it? And they're making it all up, and the author probably didn't even think about it once. Like, I think that schools really ruin that for students. So could skateboarding be ruined by forcing kids to learn it? Maybe. But I don't think so, because most people aren't going to pick up a skateboard at all in their life. Most people would pick up a book if they didn't hate it, but most people wouldn't bother with skateboarding at all. So introducing lots of people to skateboarding, I think, would be overall a good thing. But one thing that I learned in college was, like, the stuff we're teaching you doesn't really matter. We're teaching you how to learn. And that's also true in high school. But, like, they're teaching you how to research and how to write a paper. It's not that the content that you wrote really matters that much. It's the process of doing it will make you learn more about how to be a more well-adjusted adult and all that kind of stuff. So if you take a skateboarding class in school and you learn just the most standard basic tricks, you learn how to ollie, you learn how to pop shove it, and the final exam in year one is a kickflip. If that's all it is, and you learn how to ride around and you can carve between some cones in the parking lot of the school, I don't know what a skateboarding class would look like. My graduating class had like 105 kids in it. We didn't have any kind of interesting classes. It was just standard everything. We had math, we had gym. Like, there weren't variations of interesting stuff like that. But yeah, even if you learned a few tricks, it might get you to understand the concept of how to learn a trick, and so you could learn your own stuff. And I think that would be kind of cool. I do think it would overall be a good thing, but it would be kind of interesting to see how that worked out. I think it would make more skaters, and that's always a positive in my book. And that's it for this time. If you've got a question of your own, go to radratvideo.com and type it in the form on the homepage. It'll go right into my email, and I will consider it for a future video. If you like this, make sure you subscribe, and there are a couple of other ways you can support the channel. You can hit the like button. You can sponsor me on Patreon, which gives you a couple of perks. You can join on YouTube by hitting the join button down below, and that'll give you some different perks as well. And that's it. There's some more videos on the sidebar that YouTube thinks you might want to watch, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.